Did you know? Eala was an inspiration for the Philippines' first WTA event. The Philippines has cheered for Eala from afar, through early morning live streams, late-night score checks, and the collective pride of watching a young Filipina rise on tennis' global stage. But next year, that support finally gets a home court. Manila is officially hosting its first-ever WTA, Women's Tennis Association, tournament in 2026, and according to multiple reports, Eala herself helped spark the movement to make it happen. On Eala as an inspiration for the Philippines WTA event. According to ABS-CBN News, Eala's post-match interview at the 2024 U.S. Open, where she thanked the Filipino crowd that made New York feel like home, was the turning point. She noted that there was no home tournament for Filipino players, and the remark struck a chord with Philippine tennis officials. In a press conference as reported by the news outlet, Philippine Lawn Tennis Association, PHILTA, Secretary General John Ray Tiangco, said that the WTA itself reached out after seeing the clip. "Did you see this interview of Eala? We had to work on this," a WTA officer reportedly said. The Secretary General added that Eala became one of the inspirations behind launching the country's first WTA 125 event. The timing couldn't be better. Eala has climbed to her career-high number 50 in the rankings, thanks in part to her strong 2025 season, including her title win at the Guadalajara 125. Her new standing gives her direct entry into the 2026 Australian Open, which overlaps with the Philippine Women's Open. A deep run in Melbourne might keep her from playing in Manila, but Philippine Sports Commission Chairman Pato Gregorio earlier told One Sports that Eala's availability will not be an issue. Whether she competes or not, Eala is fully behind the event. In a video message at a press conference, she said, "The first WTA event to be held in the Philippines. It's all thanks to the efforts of the Philippine tennis leaders, and I'm so grateful. As a player, I could not be more proud to say that Pilipinas now has a whole tennis tournament." When the news broke that the Philippines would be hosting its first-ever WTA tennis event, the country erupted with a kind of excitement it had not felt for a racket sport since the era of Felicissimo Ampon. It was not only a moment of sporting progress, it was history in the making, a symbolic milestone declaring that the Philippines was finally stepping onto the world stage of women's tennis. But behind this groundbreaking moment, behind the negotiations, the logistics, the courts newly painted to perfection, and the entire nation preparing to welcome the superstars of tennis, stood an unlikely yet undeniable source of inspiration: Alexandra "Alex" Maniego Eala. For years, Filipinos had admired athletes from afar. Tennis was always perceived as a sport of distant heroes: Serena, Sharapova, Osaka, Swiatek, faces from countries with deep tennis infrastructures and decades of professional tradition. But Eala changed that narrative. She was young, Filipina, full of fire, and unmistakably one of us. And it was her meteoric rise that helped push the Philippines to imagine something bold, something no one thought possible yet: a WTA tournament on home soil. This is the story of how one young woman became the spark that ignited a nationwide tennis renaissance. Chapter 1. The girl who hit too hard for her age. Long before Eala held trophies on clay courts in France or graced the Roland Garros courts as a junior champion, she was simply a girl with unruly curls and a racket twice the size of her forearm. Family members like to tell the story of how she first picked up a tennis racket at the age of 4, so small that the racket head seemed to anchor her to the ground. But from the moment she swung, something happened. There was a loud pop, a blur of yellow, and then a stunned silence as the ball ricocheted off the garage wall with a force no 4-year-old should be able to generate. Eala slowly, her mother Riza, would often call out, half worried, half thrilled. But slowing down was not in Eala's nature. As she grew, hitting became more than emotion. It became her rhythm. School days meant studying and training. Weekends meant tournaments. Vacations meant more practice, more discipline, and more sunburn from hours on the court. Her older brother, Miko, helped sharpen her competitive fire, pushing her to reach for shot after impossible shot. By her early teens, Eala possessed the tenacity of a seasoned pro. The courts of Manila could no longer contain her ambition, and soon, neither could the Philippines. Chapter 2. A Filipina on the world stage. When Alex joined the prestigious Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain, she became not just an athlete abroad, but an ambassador of Filipino excellence. Other players would see the Philippine flag stitched onto her gear and wonder, "Where's that from?" Alex answered with her forehand. With every match she won, especially her junior Grand Slam titles and medal-filled SEA Games performances, she carved the Philippines' name deeper into global tennis awareness. Filipino communities abroad flocked to watch her whenever she competed nearby, waving flags, chanting her name, filling small stadiums with the kind of energy usually reserved for boxing or basketball in the Philippines. She had become something the country rarely had in tennis: a world-class contender, a rising global athlete, a Filipina forging a path in a sport with little local infrastructure, a symbol of possibility. When young players saw her on TV, they didn't see an unreachable Hollywood-like figure. They saw someone who had trained on the same cracked hard courts, breathed the same humid air, and outran the same tropical downpours that interrupted afternoon practice sessions. Her victories became the country's victories. Her losses, moments of collective heartbreak. Her persistence, the lesson every Filipino athlete could learn. But no one knew just how far her influence would reach. Not yet. Chapter 3. A Country Wonders. What if? Before the announcement of the Philippines' first WTA event, dreams of hosting such a prestigious tournament were often dismissed as fantasy. Who would come? Where would it be held? Did the Philippines even have the facilities? Was there an audience for it? Would sponsors support it? The answers were murky at best, until Eala stepped into the spotlight. Each time she achieved something extraordinary, breaking junior records, defeating higher-ranked players, winning professional titles, the questions began to shift. Instead of "can we?" the conversation slowly became, "why not?" Influential figures in Philippine sports, tennis supporters, and private organizations started to see a new angle. There was a homegrown star capable of inspiring a generation. If the Philippines wanted to build a tennis culture, to raise new champions, to dream bigger, it needed a central platform. And nothing established a country as a tennis power quite like hosting a WTA tournament. Alex was the example and the proof. Filipinos were talented enough, hard-working enough, resilient enough to belong in the professional tennis landscape. The only missing piece?